What's up, guys? So today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a story. So this actually happened a year ago, and I was in college and I was, trying out, you could say, or rushing this Asian fraternity, and it was definitely one of those social fraternities. Like, they said they were doing other stuff that were academic related and stuff like that, and they were. Granted, they definitely were. But this was definitely a sort of social frat. And so I was at this, one of their, mixers. You have to go to, 3 events to be considered eligible for a bid. And then if you get a bid, then they pretty much go through a selection process from there. And you can potentially become a member of this fraternity. Now, I was really just testing things out. I didn't really know if I wanted to join, even if I did get accepted. And so this is where the story begins. So I went to 1 or 2 events, and those events were just random things during the daytime, presentations and so forth. And this one was an optional one, which was a sort of party with a sort of sister sorority, and it was an Asian sorority, and pretty much it was a party. And I went to this thing, I think it was Friday night, and here's the sort of mentality I had going into it. I didn't go to a lot of these things, so I was on the inside kind of nervous, but I was telling myself, I'm just going to take a chill pill and just chill out and just go to it. And here's my mentality. I was like, there's definitely going to be girls there, but you know what? I had already approached a girl a couple of days ago. It didn't go too well, but you know what? That counts. That definitely counts as an approach. So I'm just going to be 100% myself at this party. I'm not going to try. I'm just going to be social and interact, because that's how it's going to work out, right? It's the best sort of mentality. Like, no one likes the guy who's going to these things in order to approach girls. So I was just like, you know what? I've already approached a girl a couple days ago. It went badly, but you know what? I fulfilled my quota. So therefore, I'm just going to this thing to have fun and so forth. Seems like a pretty good mentality to have, right? You're not like one of those hungry, sort of leeching people. Well, certain people can do this without being a leech, but you're not going with the intention of approaching a girl or anything like that. So I go to this thing, right? And I walk in. I think I was wearing a Ralph Lauren polo and so forth, and I walked into the thing, and my whole mentality was just, I'm gonna have fun. I'm not going to try, I'm just going to be 100% myself and chill. And I walked into this thing, and I was early for some reason. I went to this thing, and I was early. There was girls there. There was a couple dudes from the fraternity. Everyone else was going out and continuously taking car trips to bring everyone who was rushing in. And I was one of the first ones there, and it was just few groups of Asian girls. Most were fairly attractive, some weren't, but and so I did not go up and talk to them. Why? Because I thought to myself, naturally I don't really just go up and talk to these people, so I'm just gonna take a chill and just walk around the area. And that's what I did. So these girls, they were obviously in groups, because that's how girls tend to be, and they were just talking. And then when I walked in and the few people with me walked in, they sort of froze and pretended to keep talking, but most of them looked, and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to keep walking. And yeah, it looked very unconfident, but at the time, my mentality was, you know what, I naturally don't just go up and talk to people unless I'm in my state of mind where I'm actually wanting to approach girls. And so being 100% myself, or the self I thought I was, I didn't approach. And long story short, pretty much no one went up and talked to me. And so when it started filling up and when more dudes came in, I quickly realized that I had to sort of do something, otherwise I'd be the awkward guy standing alone in this crowded place constantly. And so I eventually just started approaching guys and talking to them. And I was just very confused because I was reading a lot, I got a lot of dating advice and stuff, and I was like, oh, don't go in like the guy who's has intentions to go up and talk to girls or do stuff. Just naturally just go there and have fun. And that's a bunch of bullcrap, okay? At least for me it is. I think it definitely works if you are like really attractive, or you can just like walk into a venue and you're guaranteed to get people who will come up to you and talk to you and approach you first. For me at the time, I was not that kind of guy. No one approached me, and I could tell no one really felt the need to approach me. Occasionally I would get lucky, and maybe like someone who was part of the fraternity was trying to be social and approach me, but that didn't happen. So that was a big lesson I learned. It was complete bullcrap. If I wanted to do something, I kind of had to go out and do it. And for me, naturally, first off, parties weren't my scene, and then second off, I was just naturally not the person to just go up and talk to these people, unless like they were like really close friends or something. I knew I had a lot of stuff in common with them. And the only other category that would prompt me to approach would be if they were attractive girls, and I was in that mindset where I was like, I want to go approach. But I had already done that like a couple of days ago, and that was another complete bullshit mentality I had that doesn't make sense. Like, there should be no quota of like girls you should, like an amount of girls you should approach. There shouldn't be a minimum or a maximum. You should just be there to have fun. You shouldn't look at it as some sort of chore, like, oh, I already completed it a couple days ago, or oh, I haven't done enough yet. And it just seems, looking back, it just seemed really retarded. Like, oh, you'd approach a girl like 2 days ago. Who cares? You're there to be social and have fun. Go and approach. But I was in that mindset where I was like, when I approach a girl, I have to ask for the number, and and express that I'm attracted to them. And it was definitely a chore in certain ways to me. And so, long story short, eventually I got pulled aside by like one of the fraternity leaders, and he pulled another like dude aside with me who was also very awkward, and he started lecturing me, and then he started like giving tips, and I was just sitting there like exceptionally annoyed because I'm like, dude, I already know all this stuff, because he was like spouting out all this like pretty much sociability advice that I had already read up on online, and I already knew. It was like stupid stuff. Like he was pretty much telling me, yeah, it's a skill. It's not something that you can just acquire. You have to be confident. I know it's awkward at this thing, and I know blah 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 blah. And he literally lectured me and the other guy for about 10 minutes straight. 5 minutes in, I was already super annoyed. I tried not to show it, but my face was already pretty annoying. And he didn't notice. He was oblivious, and he kept lecturing me. And I'm like, no offense to the guy. I mean, bless his heart. But in my head, I was thinking, dude, you're not even that good at it yourself. You're coming across very awkward, and you can't even tell how annoyed I'm getting. Talk about how socially intelligent you are. But the other like awkward dweeb next to me, he was like eating it all up. He was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's why I'm screwing up. Oh, I didn't think about it that way. And then the dweeb started talking about like all these things that was screwing him up. And then I got sucked into it as well, and I started saying like, oh yeah, I just came in here to have fun. I was having a bad day. And I wasn't having a bad day. I was just sort of covering up for the fact that I was completely awkward. And looking back, it's so retarded, because at the time I was thinking, I'm just going to go in, have fun. If people approach me, I'm going to talk to them back, be exceptionally sociable, and just be very chill. I'm not going to try any harder than I am naturally, and so forth. And I guess that sort of excuse mindset, like all these excuses, it came from the fact that I was partially scared. I didn't want to come across too try hard or like too anxious, and at the same time I was banking on the fact that I had already done my work. And I was definitely looking at approaching girls and talking to girls as a chore, rather than what a lot of really cool people do, which is they don't look at it as a chore. They're just being sociable. They're just talking to girls. And that's why for them it's on like almost 24/7. They'll approach and talk to girls in the daytime, and then when it comes time for the party, they'll still approach and talk to them. It's just them being social. And that's why they don't burn out. They don't look at it as a chore, so they're not like burnt out from it, and they're not like, oh, I've done so much today, I'm not going to do it tonight. And for me, it's still kind of the same thing, because a lot of times, you know, I just feel like sitting there and being alone, rather than talking to these people next to me. And certain people are like that, and that's fine, but it's really, this video is really just take from it what you will, because there's definitely different opinions and different things that different people can learn from this video. And certain people might look at it like, if you're shy and you're not used to talking to people, you might be like, you know what, you're completely right. I do use these as excuses myself, and that's where I screwed up. And some others might look at it like, you know what, I'm naturally shy, and it's great to approach and stuff, but I'm still going to be, I'm going to stick to myself because that's my natural state. Maybe parties aren't my thing. And others might look at it and they'll be like, you know what? I think what I can get from this is that I should approach during parties, and I shouldn't look at it as a chore, and so forth. But for me personally, and I think this is probably the most important, in my opinion, from the story, this is what I think you should take from it. Look at it like this. When you go to a party, whether you're super shy or you're super confident, if you're super confident, what are you doing watching this? You already know what to do. But if you're super shy and you're awkward, guarantee you, when you walk into the venue, or maybe even before you walk in, you will probably have loaded up a bunch of excuses and stuff that you don't even think are excuses. You just think they're just logical reasonings and stuff like that. And I just want you to keep in mind two things. The first, approach girls and guys. Approach girls and guys no matter what. And then the second is just ignore any sort of reasoning or logic in your mind that will prevent you from doing the first one. And that's what I should have done. I should have went into the venue and immediately started socializing and talking to the girls there. Instead, like it or not, I was being shy and nervous and scared. So I didn't want to leave my comfort zone, so I walked in, and I was hoping deep down that they would approach me first, because I had already determined when I walked in that I was not going to go out of my way to open them first. And I had logically convinced myself, that, oh, the reason why I'm not doing it is because I'm already very tired today, and I just want to be completely 100% naturally myself, and my natural self is kind of shy and wouldn't do that. And quite frankly, if you do that, you're probably not going to get a lot out of the venue. Because for me, I'm not going to get approached a lot myself, so I have to kind of go out and do the work. And it kind of sucks, but really, if you're there with that sort of mentality, it's completely wrong, because maybe you're there with the wrong sort of mindset. I personally think a year ago I walked into that venue, and if you had asked me a year ago, I probably would have denied it. But deep down, I definitely think that I had gone in with some sort of intention of gaining something favorable out of girls, whether it was just a favorable interaction or conversation or meeting girls. I'd gone in there with that sort of purpose in mind. And it's hard not to do that. Like, most people do, whether they will admit it or not, but it's true. And the whole thing with that is that if you go in with that sort of mindset and stuff like that, you can be screwed over, because you're going in with these sort of questions in your subconscious, like, am I attractive enough? Do you think she'll like me as a potential suitor? And these sort of questions. And unless you can answer them with a lot of confidence that yes, she will. And again, that is why a lot of successful people, whether they're very attractive or very good looking or so forth, they'll do very well. But if you don't have those answers, then you're completely screwed. And there's really two ways to counteract this. Well, three ways. First is work out, fix your clothing, look better, go to the gym, get better fashion sense. The second, other than making yourself more physically attractive, is change your mentality. So you can just completely change your mentality and just go in and look to just make friends. Have you ever noticed that the most popular people you've ever met in person, whether in high school or college, a lot of times they're not the most attractive looking people. They're not the most handsome person in the world, but they're very well socialized. And a lot of it is because their whole intent with meeting and talking to other people, especially those of the opposite gender, is oftentimes they're not there to meet their next girlfriend or find a potential suitor. They're there just to make friends. And that alleviates a lot of the pressures, and it removes a lot of these questions that you will ask in your subconscious that can screw you up. And if you're just there to make friends, then it's a lot simpler. And you can still be very intimidated, but like it or not, sometimes you gotta go out and step out of your comfort zone and approach others. And that's just how it is to it. Whether you want to make friends, or you want to find a hookup at the party, or you want to find your girlfriend, you sometimes got to man up and approach. And quite frankly, most people, not all people, most people are shy by nature, and they'd rather the other party approach them. That's just how it is. And finally, the third method is to just be exceptionally confident in yourself. Spit really good game. That's all there is to it. And what that means is when these sort of disconcerting questions pop up in your subconscious, rather than changing your mindset and saying, oh, I'm just there to make friends or something like that, you keep the mindset of, yeah, I'm there because I want to be more than friends with these girls or this one particular girl. And when all those disconcerting questions pop up, like, should I approach? I'm scared. I'm self-conscious. Am I attractive enough? You answer those immediately with overbounding, confident yeses. And there's a lot of ways to build up this sort of self-confidence and sort of game. And one of those is just to develop a lot of positive experiences or memories in your past which sort of support these things. And certain people don't have that, but you can gain that. Or another one is just to sort of work at it. It's sort of like, if you can fake confidence, you can eventually attain it. So it's like, fake it until you make it. And all these things sort of work together. And I think the hardest is definitely the last one. There's the very few rare cases where I've seen someone who's not that attractive, who's very good at just exploding with confidence. And then, like, the easiest route is, like it or not, work on your fashion, go to the gym, work on your whole appearance and so forth. And then the middle one is the sort of changing your mentality thing. And a lot of people are going to have a lot of trouble with this. They're going to have a lot of excuses. For me, myself, I'm still, definitely in the journey. But this may have helped out a lot of people, because a very small sliver of the percentage of people are hella good at this. They just need to know how to do it, and then boom, they go to the gym, they look amazing, they work on their confidence, boom, they're done. They're done. They've got everything, and then all the girls flock to them. And the last message of this is, work on your sociability. And I think a lot of people are confused with the fact that, oh, I'm a shy person, I don't want to become outgoing. Here's the thing, you can be shy in a lot of ways. Like, there's a lot of hours in the day where, whether you like it or not, you are alone. And why not just keep those, but whenever you find the need, because whether you like it or not, there will be very awkward situations in your life where you are put into an environment where you should be social. You don't have to be outgoing. There's definitely a huge difference between outgoingness and sociability. But when you have those two, like, if you're just very sociable, you can just talk and talk. And it doesn't mean like being exceptionally outgoing, but like you can literally just like talk in those things and make the best out of it, and then sort of reap the benefits from that, rather than just being very, very like embarrassed and like tragic and not know what to do. Someone's knocking on the door, so I gotta wrap this up. Thanks for watching. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Peace.